True story, you know the haps. Let me break it down for the new boys, no cap. They respect the trap, nah fam, I'm free. And freedom ain't free until we all living free. Mindset fix, another day, another obstacle. Family feed lies, your dreams is what they robbing you. You gotta make it possible, gotta make it possible, gotta make it possible. Make the future possible.
Definitely glad to be here. I know, like I said, it's been a few weeks, but for the most part, everything is well, and just glad to get the show going. So I hope everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving Day. Hope everybody ate up and everything, did what they need to do, and they're getting ready to prep for the end of year festivities. Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and all that other good stuff. But anywho, as for me, Rolo runs the city. And unfortunately, I couldn't run the Peachtree Road Race this year. However, I did run it virtually. So I didn't go down Peachtree, I believe it's taking the left on 10th and, finishing up at Piedmont Park. That's what we normally do during the Peachtree Road Race, which is the largest 10K in the world. But unfortunately, this year we had to go virtual. And I went ahead and I ran virtual. And I will tell you like this. My application that I used for the Peachtree Road Race, it was an application that they had. Their GPS was totally jacked up. I mean, I'm not trying to be here negative and criticize, because obviously, this is a self-improvement, a personal development, professional development podcast, and we always try to stay on the up and up, but at the same time, we do have to do what we can to stay as authentic as we can be, as well as stating the facts. And it was a shame, they had over 45,000 runners. Traditionally, it's about 60,000 runners that actually run in the Peachtree Road Race. But of course, they shorted 15,000 because of everything that was going on. They had a feeling that this pandemic was going to take the run virtual, which it ultimately did. So with that being said, I understand there's several things that have to come into play when it comes to doing the road race. Normally this road race, it averages anywhere from $35 to about $50 per participant. And with that being said, it was a shame that they had such a horrible app to actually track your progress. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I'll put it to like this. I was supposed to run 6.2 miles, which is a 10K. I guarantee you, I ran a 15K. I ran about 9 miles. That's how bad this app was. It was completely off. And I can probably do a good 10K, probably like probably an hour and 3 minutes, an hour. Maybe 59 minutes. Things of that nature, but I know around that range. And this thing had me clocking in, and then on top of that, this is how bad it was, right? This thing had me clocking in at an hour and 39 minutes to finish the 10K, which more than likely an hour and 39 minutes. Yeah, I ran 9 miles. I did not run 6.2 miles. I ran about 9 miles, and I stay in fairly good shape in reference to running. And I was just totally frustrated with the app, because on top of that, not only did it have me clocking in at an hour and 39 minutes, but it didn't even let me know that I had completed the race. I mean, this thing was an absolutely horrible application to use, and you figure 45,000 participants at $50 a pop when it comes to the registrations and everything, and you don't have to deal with vendors, volunteers. Of course, we got our bibs. Of course, we had a 2020 bib because of, the year. We didn't really get specific bib numbers in reference to registration, as well as, we got our t-shirts over the mail prior, so then that way we could run it in our t-shirts. We normally get at the finish line, but of course, this year the circumstances were different. But, with that being said, you do the math on $50, $50 times 45,000 participants. They could have came up with a better app. I mean, it was absolutely horrible. Then when I finished my run, I found out that I could have actually used a Fitbit or even used an application on my phone that could have tracked the GPS progress outside of the app. But I was so beat up and done after running like 9 miles. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna take it for what it's worth, and then we'll hopefully next year we'll be in person and we can make some things happen. But if we happen to go virtual again, I know that I can use an outside app outside of this application, because the AJC Peachtree Road Race application was absolutely terrible. So anywho, I figured I would go ahead and let you guys know how I was doing with that. But like I said, the experience went virtual. It was a little bit different. I was running by myself. It was kind of weird. It's actually been the first race that I did virtually for the most part. I did the MLK in person last year. Well, I'm sorry, not last year. This past year, back in January, I did it in person, as well as I did the Hornet Hustle 5K for Mansfield Elementary out in Newton County, Georgia. That was actually absolutely just incredible experience, and this was prior to the pandemic. This was, I believe, I did this run, I believe it was in March 7th, and then everything pretty much shut down March 12th. So, I was able to do that run. That was my qualifier. I ran that in probably believe 26:39 if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But it was a great run. But that was the last one I did in person, and that was the last one that I did competitively for myself. And then next thing you know, I'm doing this the Peachtree Road Race. I'm doing it virtually. So that's been pretty much it in reference to competitively running for myself this year. But I will be running this upcoming year in 2021, actually in person with people around me, not knowing if we're going to wear a mask or not. We'll see what happens, but it's actually going to be the MLK 5K drum run. I started running this back in 2019, and it was an awesome experience. I ran it in 2020. Definitely incredible experience. So 2021, it's coming up. It's going to be my third MLK drum run. So I'm hoping that we get to as much normalcy as we possibly can. I know you have to, be socially distant and whatnot. I'm going to have to run with a mask on, so I have to get used to doing that. And with me being aware of people not going to be wearing a mask, which is understandable. I get it. It's, something that a lot of people are going to have a hard time trying to perform in. So I totally get that. Whether if you have something that's breathable or not, I mean, it's an adjustment. So, with that being said, we'll see how that goes. But it's been an absolute pleasure to actually take part in these events, because when, I'm not saying they get taken away from you, but with this whole COVID-19, it's made me appreciate the events a lot more, because I do miss not only just running competitively for myself, but I love running amongst other runners. I mean, everybody's there for the same cause. Everybody has their own reasons and beliefs on why they do their runs, and the good thing is that the energy, everyone seems to be on the same frequency, so therefore, the energy's high and people are ready to get it in, so you can definitely appreciate that. But anywho, that is just that's just the running front. I know I kind of went off a little bit, but we will get to our topic. Today's topic, of course, is an interesting one, and I had to pick this because, many people are totally suffering, and it happens to be because of ego. So the question that we pose today for today's topic is, why ego is no amigo? And of course, the term is coined by NFL Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez, who played with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Atlanta Falcons. Great tight end at his position. Definitely top 3. And it was something that his mom told him as he was growing up. So it was definitely fitting for today's show. I wanted to make sure that we really talk about this. So we're going to talk about, basically humility. Okay? It's going to get you a lot further than arrogance. While humility displays gratitude, arrogance displays a cockiness which rubs people the wrong way. Showing off as a self-made, needed zero help, when in actuality, we all receive assistance at some point, one way or the other. And there's a lot of people that they believe that they truly are self-made. And like I said, we all, at some point or another, receive assistance of some kind from someone. And whether you want to recognize that as support or not, it absolutely is. Last time I checked, none of us walking this earth is perfect. We're not Jesus. And if you think about it, that would be the only absolutely true self-sufficient being to ever walk this planet. So, one way or the other, we all receive assistance at some point, some help. And it's not so much even about a handout, so to speak. It's more of a helping hand. Okay, like a lot of times, there's a difference between a helping hand and a handout. Okay, I know it seems to be the same, but it absolutely isn't. Okay, a helping hand is like, man, I see this person is doing what they have to do and they're putting foot to butt to get to work, so then that way they can better themselves off. I can probably take this person to the next level, therefore I'm going to give them the assistance that they need to get to that level. That's one way. That's a helping hand. Now, a handout is when somebody's like, hey man, you gotta look out for me, man. I mean, you really gotta just look out for a brother, man. This is what I'm trying to get done. And you're like, why should I help you out? What have you been doing for yourself for me to help you out? And then you really don't have any answers for it. So when you don't have any answers for it, next thing you know, you end up in a situation where you're like, man, am I looking like a beggar? And that's the problem. You start to look like you're a beggar. And you don't want to be a person that's going to beg. And the reason why I say you look like a beggar is because you're asking for help, but you're not putting the work in yourself to ensure that you promise yourself a better tomorrow. Okay? So, for example, okay, let's say you wanted to join the league, right? And, you're a guy you were a high school standout, you played a couple of years of college, but things didn't quite pan out for you. And you haven't really been perfecting your craft. Like, you haven't been, they call it semi-pro football. I call it recreational because semi-pro, like, you're not getting paid for it. You know what I mean? So, but you're not playing in any league, or you're not even playing flag football for that matter. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to see if you can hang out by one of the professional facilities, and you're like, hey man, I used to play ball, I was a local standout. He's like, yeah, well, what have you done lately? Oh man, just give me a chance to get in there so I can show what I can do. No, it's just not going to happen, because what people want to see is the consistency and what kind of love do you have for something. And when you have a guy who needs a helping hand, okay, you had a guy who was a high school standout, played a couple years of ball in college, didn't, catch the break that he needed, but, has a true love for the game, stays in shape, does everything that he needs to do to master the position, whatever position he's playing, playing semi-pro, quote-unquote, recreational football, maybe some flag football, and going out to, several different gyms out in the local area and stuff like that, and really trying to put together maybe some game tape or something different where they could possibly try to get a tryout, start sending some stuff out. And, a scout or somebody sees that and they say, man, this guy's really been putting in work. Like, he's like really not giving up on his dream. You know what I mean? And, you may be 25, 26 years old, and A lot of times they say, the NFL stands for not for long, and you're in a situation where they say the lifespan of a football player is anywhere from 2 to 4 years. And obviously, you're definitely, if not outside that window, you're creeping at it, 25, 26 years old. But if people see that work, someone sees it, they say, man, this guy's really been putting in work. I want to help this gentleman out. And there you go. Somebody gave someone a helping hand because they seen that person was trying to do the best they can for their situation, as opposed to just asking for something and actually not putting any work. So I think that's actually a good look when it comes to executing on your dreams. So humility is definitely something that people need to exercise if they absolutely want to be in the best position possible. Okay. So I'll put it to you like this. Ego, it separates those who want to execute on their goals. However, I'm telling you like this. When you have an uncontrolled ego, it can damage fruitful relationships. And then on top of that, it has us believing we don't need any help. Quote unquote. I've got this. I don't need any help. And then that's the mentality that you adopt. And that equates to the beginning of the end to all of your endeavors. So at some point, we all develop an ego because we become proficient, maybe an expert, so to speak, at a certain thing. But at the same token, what we do have to understand is, yeah, okay, I've got a little ego because if I didn't, I wouldn't be where I'm at. But at the same time, we have to learn to be students of the game. That ego needs to be controlled. And at some point, even put to the side. To a point where, like for me, I'll be quite honest with you, man. I had a big ego. And I realized it didn't take me anywhere. Pride is definitely a major flaw in human behavior. The ego will definitely take you out of the best positions possible. So what you want to make sure that you do is you check your ego at whatever door you're about to enter, you put the team first, and you continue to move forward. Because when you understand that the goal is a lot bigger than you, at that point is when you are going to rise above anything that you are going to encounter. Because what you did was you put the biggest thing, the biggest obstacle that can get in your way out of your way, which is your ego. Like a lot of us get our feelings hurt. And we're just like, yeah, man, I thought what I did was quite all right. Man, it was all right. That person don't know what they're talking about. No, they do know what they're talking about because they're outside of you. And even if it's somebody who's just criticizing, who's just a heckler, or maybe just wants to hate, at some point or another, let's kind of look and self-evaluate and say, hey, is there any truth to what this person's saying? That's when you're putting the ego aside. So then that way you can properly assess what you're doing, correct what you're doing, and then move forward. That's where growth comes. So I truly believe in that. And I'm not saying that you guys should believe in it too. But if it sounds like it's something that you need to really work on, please do it. Another thing, spiritual enlightenment. Spiritual enlightenment, as well as vibrations and frequencies of the like-minded individuals, absolutely catapults one to become the best versions of themselves and absolutely speaks to the masses, giving a voice to the voiceless. I mean, do we understand what I'm saying there? I mean, you have to really think about it. When you're in tune with yourself, or when you're in tune with your soul, okay, and you're vibrating at a certain frequency, you're going to attract that because it's just like it's just a magnet. And I'm not trying to get onto this law of attraction stuff or anything like that. Like that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is whenever you're putting good out in the world, it's coming back to you. Those are the laws of reciprocity. We always talk about this. And when you do this, you end up surrounding yourself around like-minded individuals. You'll possibly have individuals that think like you, that will appreciate what you do, and they're like, man, I can really resonate with that well because I feel the same way about that situation, you know? And that person may not have a platform to put themselves out, but they can appreciate your platform because you're like, man, he's saying what I'm thinking. Man, she's saying what I'm thinking. I like that. I can fool with them because we have the same like mind. I love it. And that's the attitude that gets adapted, you know. That's attraction, period. It's not just like, oh, this laws of attraction, like for real. Like I'm not trying to be on those secret Oprah Winfrey type stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But I truly do believe that what you put into the world, you get back. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean negative karma. I mean, there's such thing as good karma. And I've seen it and I've experienced it myself, and both would rather be on the good end rather than the bad. So there were a lot of things that I needed to change about myself personally. And I always say this time and time again. You'll never address a problem if you don't think there is one. And I knew there was one with me. I had a problem with taking accountability for things that I was doing. And when things were working out negative, I was quick to point the finger at somebody else. And then I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. All these people have a problem with me? Damn, there's something wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, because it can't be like, I'm like, you know, would everybody be on the same wavelength? I could see if everybody was all huddled around and they say, hey, man, you know, we're just going to go against Rolo. We just don't like this guy. We need to exile him whenever we can. No, it's like you start recognizing your pattern of behavior. You're like, so-and-so doesn't know so-and-so. And they both think the same way about me. What the hell am I doing wrong? And then once you can actually recognize that, you can absolutely move forward with your life. And it'll put you in a different stratosphere, man. It really would. So one of the best things that someone can possibly do is to just self-evaluate. This is how you start checking the ego. This is how you say, I'm not doing that. That's when you start recognizing pride is a major flaw in human behavior, and I need to get rid of that crap. It's not going to work. So, you know, people have so much respect for people who have humility because they're absolutely grateful for everything that's happening around them, whether it be good or bad. I mean, if you think about it too, it's like a lot of people, those who don't take accountability, those who don't check the ego, those who just want to be arrogant, you know, they're in a situation where they think that life is happening to them as opposed to happening for them. So I truly believe that if you check that ego and realize that it's not an amigo and it's taking you to where you've gotten, but you're hitting a point where you need to exercise some humility, that's when it's time to start letting it go. It's like, hey, I've used you for the purpose that I needed to use you for. I'm kind of am where I need to be because you catapulted me there. And I'm not going to dismiss that. However, right now, I think I'm an expert and I'm absolutely not. I'm going to have to let this go. And that's what needs to get done. Okay. So, just wanted to definitely break that down. But, I tell people first off, like, I do not know everything. I do not know everything. I don't have all the answers. I haven't done everything. However, I'm always trying to seek out the answers and learn daily. It truly keeps me in the mindset of being a student in life, to just continuously learn. Okay? Seeking out patterns of behavior that enhances one's life. And that's what makes life worth living. We need to really take heed to that. as well as patterns of negative behavior. Don't get it wrong. I mean, I'm going to tell you like this. It can be a detriment to one's existence. And you have to take account, of all things that can possibly be self-sabotage, egotistical manners and behavior. That's something we need to avoid. Okay? Let's just be quite honest with it. Because patterns of negative behavior, man, could really be a detriment to your existence, man. You must take account for that, man. I mean, you really do. You have to ensure that you avoid such egotistical manners and self-sabotage, because we consistently do it all the time. Whenever something is working out so well, we get to a point where it's like, oh no, I know everything. I know what I'm doing. I need to do this. I need to do that. I got this. I don't need no help. And the next thing you know, we end up in a situation where not only do we only mess ourselves over, but we can possibly hurt the people that are involved in our life. And it happens a lot. And the reason why I say this is because, you may think you have it all figured out, but push comes to shove. Let's even say with a job, with employment, you end up putting yourself in an uncompromised situation where you possibly lose your job. And if you're married and if you have kids, it ain't just about you, because if you lost your job, it's okay, because you're like, I could bounce back, like I'm by myself. But you got little ones to worry about. You have a significant other you need to worry about. That counts on you to deliver. So, when we're being egotistical, it's self-sabotage, man. It is what it is. So we have to learn to, life is hard as it is. I always talk about it all the days. All the time I always talk about it. Life is hard as it is, and it's always a gut punch. But don't punch yourself in the gut. You know what I mean? It's bad enough already. Life's coming at you wanting to swing as soon as you wake up. So you have to consistently not only play defense, but you have to be in attack mode at the same time and not hurt yourself. So let's make sure we do that. Man. All right, guys. Well, next week is our season finale. So that's definitely going to be a great show. We're going to close out, get ready for the holidays. So it's going to be a very good, informative show. And that will be taking place next week. In the meantime, like I said, I had this MLK drum run. And I'm totally looking forward to that. It's always a great experience to go out there to run with other runners and just do some great things. And I'm going to enjoy it, because I'll be quite honest with you. I don't know what the future holds. We have a new president that's about to go in office. And, I know one of his first plans of trying to beat the curve on this coronavirus is that I would not be surprised if there's an executive order put into place for the United States and its territories to have a mandated shelter in place for the next 30 or 60 days. I'm trying to expect the unexpected. And I think you guys should too. And I know when I do this run, it's going to be good to be around the people. But then again, like I said, as soon as our president gets inaugurated, who knows how life's going to look at that point then. So I'm just going to really embrace and cherish the moment as it's happening, and just really being absolutely grateful to be around my fellow runners. But like I said, next week is the season finale, and that's going to wrap up season 2 of Rolo Runs the City podcast. And, we'll be coming back, shortly after, and we're going to hit you off with season 3, and hopefully we can bring you some more good information and definitely keep you on some current events and continue to help you guys rise professionally, personally, and just really taking control of what you can control, and that's within yourself. Well, anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode. I am Rolo, your host of Rolo Runs the City podcast. Feel free to email me at rolorunthecity@gmail.com. That is at rolorunthecity@gmail.com. If you guys have any comments, feel free, if you are checking this out, to post it on YouTube. If you are watching this via YouTube, or if you just want to shout me a comment on my email, feel free to do so. Y'all take care. Godspeed. And we will see you next week. Take care now. Peace.